So today we're going to be making a motion graphic heart effect that's going to go around in a heart shape. So let's select everything in our scene, and by clicking A and then clicking X to delete everything from our scene. Now we have a clear scene. Let's add in the first object. So let's go to object. So let's go to add mesh, and let's get a mesh circle. For the mesh circle, let's rotate that on the X axis. So RX90, and we have it rotated on the x-axis. I'm going to click A, one on the numpad, and we've got our uh, shape on the front photographic view. So let's go into edit mode. Let's select the two at the top. Let's get into proportionate editing. Let's change that to sharp, and now we can adjust this into a heart shape. So I'm going to say GZ, and I'm going to increase my circle. Okay, let's pull that down a bit. And I think that looks good. Then let's select A, and then let's just select everything, and then let's increase the width of it. And now we have our heart shape. I'm going to give that a subdivision surface. I'm going to left click and get that on. So now we have our heart shape. What we do now is we'll add a plane to get our emitter. So our plane is added. We're going to put that at the bottom, and I'm going to add another sphere. Let's add a sphere. Let's bring that down. Let's decrease the size of it. So now we have our plane. Let's select our plane. Let's go into the particle system, and let's add some particles. Let's change this to 300. Let's add the lifetime to 200, and let's play our scene. There is some particles running. Let's change the field weights to 0 so that it goes up and not down. Let's also get the object to be under render. Let the object be the sphere. So now we have the sphere as the object, and that's what's running up. Cool. Now that we have that sorted, let's select the heart. Let's give the heart a force field, and let's make this force field a surface. Let's make this -10, and let's give it a flow of. So now we see that it is actually going along the route of the object is actually going along the route of the heart. So let's maybe bring the heart a bit closer up. Okay. Let's now give the cylinder a material. So let's go to that. Give it a material. Let me just pause this. Let's give it emission. Let's make the emission 10. Let's go into the shader material view, and let's give it a red emission for heart. So now we have our emitter as red, and it's going around the heart, which is what we wanted. Now let's try and get the heart shape. So in order to get the heart shape, what we have to do is Let's duplicate this heart. Shift D. Oops, I think I duplicated the wrong thing. Let's just delete that. Let me just delete that. So let me right click and then delete. And I'm going to go into this, and I'm going to say Shift D, and I duplicated it, and I'm going to bring this right to the bottom here. So the heart is shaped. So let's go into the force field, and I'm going to take away the force field from the heart, and I'm going to go back to the plane. No, before I go back to the plane, I have to convert this into a curve. So I'm going to click the heart object. I'm going to convert it to a curve. Once I have it as a curve, I'm going to go to the geometry section, and I'm going to change the depth to 0.08. And then I'm going to convert it back to a mesh. Now we go to the plane. We'll go back to particle system. I'm going to go back to the object instance. I'm going to take that out. I want to select the heart as the object, and I'm going to click this object rotation property. And now, as you can see, we have the heart shape. However, it doesn't have the material which we selected earlier on. So let's try and get the material which we did have on the emitter of the sphere. So let's select the heart. And the second thing we're going to select holding shift is the sphere. And I'm going to say Control L, and I'm going to link material. So now we do have the same emission. There we go. What we're looking for is what we have. And I think let's go and change the settings in the plane before I add some bloom. So let's go into the settings. Let's go into the children. Let's change it to simple. The display amount should be 3. Let's change the render amount to 3. Let's give this to 250. And let's change the size to about 0.8 or 0.797. Then let's randomize this a bit. Okay, and let's decrease the radius. Let's increase the roundness. And if we play let's play it from the beginning, we get our hearts. So that's how you do it. Um, you can also increase the render time to 300 if you like. So it goes for longer. And basically, that's how you do this effect. The last thing is let's go into compositing, and let's add in a bloom. So I'm going to get a glare, and let's change that to bloom. Let's go into get a viewer editor, and I'm going to connect that there. Let's now get, we don't have a rendered, let me just render a images get in a camera here. So I'm going to say Shift A, adding a camera, and that's the camera. Just going to bring it a bit higher up. this a bit lower. Let's go back into camera and let's just render this out. So while it's like that, let's just render it out. So that's how it's looking right now. So now let's go into compositing and let's do some changes here. So we can just decrease the size of it to maybe about 3, 2, or whatever you like, but I like 4. Let's make this 3.9 and let's increase to high quality. And if we now render this out, this is how it looks. So let's play it. And that's how you basically do this effect. Select. That's how it looks. Awesome. The last thing is we go into render properties. You click ray tracing. You click motion blur and you go to render it out. Go to your output, wherever you want to output it at. Select FFmpeg, encoding MPEG 4, make it high quality, and you render your scene by clicking here and render F12. So that's how you basically do it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.